to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Today I'm doing a review on my Vitamixer. I know these machines are quite expensive. I ordered mine online straight from the factory. Some people I know are buying them through Costco. I chose the Vitamixer because the powerful motor is able to do many functions in this whole blender. It's not just a blender. You see both of these containers here. One is a dry grinder and one is a wet grinder, as well as a blender and a mixer. So let's go through this a little bit. When you get your Vitamixer, you get your Whole Foods recipe book, you get your whole grains cookbook, and you get your getting started step-by-step guide. Also with it comes a instructional DVD on showing you the basics on some of the recipes in the Whole Foods recipe book. First of all, this has the ability to make a fresh vegetable cocktail. You can make your own V8 juice, if you will. The recipe booklet has the recipes on how to make that, throwing your vegetables in there and mixing it. Now it does the same as like a juicer, as the other juicers like the Bullet and the Jack LaLanne and stuff like that. Now some of the juicers, they extract the pulp from the juice and give you the juice, and then you have to do away with the pulp and the seeds. The Vitamixer, however, is different because of the powerful motor in this and the blade design. This thing actually incorporates the pulp and the seeds into the ingredients. Now, in my book, the seeds, the pulp, there's a lot of nutrients in those ingredients themselves, and so when you're with a juicer, conventional juicer, you're extracting the added nutrients that otherwise your body would be getting. So this incorporates everything and liquefies everything into the juice. So you get a nice, wholesome juice for you and your family. Another thing that this machine does is it cooks. Yes, it cooks. The blades turn at such a high RPM that when you, with your food that's in there, it's grinding it up, it's juicing it up, and with the friction it's causing, that friction is generating heat. And now, the longer you leave this machine on, the hotter your food is going to get, and it's going to cook your food while you're processing it. So there's items in the recipe book also on cooking foods like soups, and to add chunks to your soups, you just stop the grinder, you just stop the machine, turn it on low, take this little lid off and drop the chunks in there and grind it slowly. So you chop it up in small pieces, like if you're making a chicken potato soup, you drop your potato in there and chop it up so you have chunks in there. You drop your chicken breast in there and you have chunks, and even a celery, so you have chunks with your blended creamy soup that you've added, the stock that you've added into the Vitamix container. So as far as cooking goes, in addition to soups, you can also create some yummy pesto sauces. So let's move on to something a little bit colder. It's summertime, I like cold desserts. So this does process frozen desserts. One frozen dessert I like to do is a smoothie. I'm going to make a blueberry peach smoothie, and this is how easy it is with my Vitamixer. I just have a cup and a half of frozen blueberries. We'll take the lid off. We'll dump, and we'll add to that a cup and a half of peaches, canned peaches, rinsed. They don't need to be frozen. Make sure the lid is locked tight in there, otherwise you're going to be redecorating your dining room, in my case. So you want to start on variable speed and low, turn it on, and then you're going to go up. And then we just take our lid off and pour the smoothie in the cup. That's good. Nothing added, just the peaches and the sweetness, the natural sweetness of the peaches, and the blueberries, the natural sweetness of the blueberries, and that's all you're getting. Frozen blueberries and a can of peaches. Oh, this is good. Nice smoothie for a hot day. And that's my blueberry and peach smoothie that I love during the summer months. So another thing it can do, it can actually make ice cream. It just takes a couple of different ingredients. Your frozen fruit, like if you take fresh peaches in season, you process them, you freeze them, put them in the freezer. You just take like a pound of your fresh peaches that are frozen, stick them in there frozen, and put your milk in there, and sugar or sweetener, and maybe a little bit of flavoring like almond flavor or vanilla flavor, and you just turn this on and it will make ice cream. It's an amazing product. I really like it. My wife and I have been using ours for 5 years. And another one does, of course it looks like a blender. Well, that's what it does. It blends. You can make frozen margaritas if you're into drinking margaritas. You can make hummus. Hummus is, the primary ingredient with hummus is garbanzo beans, also known as the chickpea. Here's a tip. Did you know that the garbanzo bean or chickpea is the #1 consumed legume in the world? It's grown all over the world, and just about every culture produces the garbanzo bean or chickpea and uses it in a variety of dishes. But you, with this Vitamixer, can make your own homemade hummus. So those are a couple of options you can use as far as the blender goes. Now for dry chopping, an example of dry chopping with this blender here is you can dry chop soft or hard vegetables, like dry chop onions at a slow speed, dry chop carrots at a slow speed, and use those elements in a dish like a salad, or you can throw them in a soups or casseroles or whatever you're using. So this replaces your chopper if you have a chopper. This also replaces, it also does wet chopping. Wet chopping is you add, like chopping up cabbage to make slaw. Now cabbage, you need to add water to this, so what you do is you put your cabbage in there, you quarter your cabbage, put your 2 quarters in there, and you fill it with water just enough so the cabbage floats, and then you chop it up on high, just for about a second, and then you drain it, and it makes a slaw. Another another thing you can use this for in the wet chopping is you can make salsa with this machine, with the wet chopping, with this container. Wet grinding. This container here, as opposed to this container over here. This does wet grinding, and an example of wet grinding is this. Dump the peanuts into the Vitamixer. Make sure that the lid is on tight, and we won't need the cap. We're going to use the plunger. Okay, it takes approximately about 2 minutes to make this peanut butter. I made my homemade peanut butter here at Pine Meadows Hobby Farms Kitchen. And boy, let me tell you, it is delicious. Serving it with my fresh homemade blackberry jam. And soon I will be making bread in this machine. That's right, this machine does do bread, which segues me into the next option, is dry grinding. Now, this, you take this off and you put this one on, and this is your dry grinder. It has a special design on the blade which takes the ingredients and pushes it up away from the blades. So what you can do with this option is you take your whole wheat berry, you put it in there, you put your lid on, and then you turn it on high, and of course you're going to use your tamper here. Now the tamper fits right in here, and it's designed to where this goes only so far so it doesn't touch the blade. Now this hole is only so big. This hole is a little bit bigger. Get the cap off for you. Okay, this hole goes here, and that's as far as it goes down so it doesn't touch the blade. So you're able to push your dry ingredients down into the blade to get it all mixed up. The same way with this one, this goes all the way deeper because the hole is bigger and it goes down and it still doesn't touch the blade, but it's able to push all your dry ingredients down into the blades to get it mixed up. That's a wonderful design that the Vitamix people made, so you have your tamper. Now, with the tamper being used, you notice the lids are different size, and the lids also they have measurements on them, so you can use these as a measure and dump your ingredients in. So you can make your own homemade fresh flour. Now it's recommended that you buy frozen whole wheat berries because they retain all of their enzymes, and that's what you and your family need, is all the enzymes. So you put your whole wheat berry in there, you grind it up into the flour, it has all the wheat germ, everything in there. So when you're making your breads, you do not need to add extra oil because the wheat germ has that oil in it. So you're getting all the healthy nutrients in the whole wheat flour that you're creating yourself fresh. Now with the flour you just made, leave it in there, and you can also take, and this is also a bread kneader. It also kneads the bread for you. Amazing product. It replaces a whole kitchen full of electric products that you might otherwise need. So here at the hobby farm, this is what we use. You see a bread maker on my counter. I've never used it. I bought it at a thrift store thinking one day I'll use it. I have never used it yet. I don't know how to use it. One day I'll just play with it and see if I could use it. But right now, I have this Vitamixer, and I'm going to try that. So this is the review on the Vitamixer that we use here at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, another kitchen product that I recommend. Now I want to do a little disclaimer here right now. I am not being paid by Vitamix to demonstrate or to support their product. It's just a product I believe in, but I want to tell you this one replaces a lot of different products. As far as your juicing, your blending, your grinding, so it replaces your flour mill that you might otherwise need. So if you're a homesteader, prepper, hobby farmer like me, to grind fresh breads and oats and stuff like to grind fresh berries and oats and stuff like that, this is your grinder. And I understand you can also make butter with this thing. Amazing product. So go online, check out their website, look at their products, view their videos that they have, and look at their recipes. They offer some recipes online too. Fabulous, wholesome recipes. So I'm glad you clicked on my channel. I'm glad you came and seen what we're using here in the kitchen at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps us a lot. My name is Jerry Hansen, your host, and you've come to Pine Meadows Hobby Farms Kitchen. Thank you for coming. This picture is a still life charcoal drawing of a chromed knight's helmet, And the backdrop is just a drape and a daffodil in a glass vase. I did this picture while I was in college.